Hello and welcome to Walker Tea Review. I'm Jason Walker with a black tea from India to look at today. I'm accused sometimes of having a Chinese tea bias. That's not really the case. There are simply a lot of Chinese tea paths to go down, and so there's just generally more options to explore in that area. But today, an Indian tea, a Darjeeling. I'm scooping in enough, and I'm using a different steeping vessel. This is a tasting cup, and I'm using enough of my tea leaves here to cover the bottom surface of that cup. That looks good. This cup holds roughly 3 to 4 ounces. I don't remember the precise amount, but my water's been brought to a boil. It's been an early boil. It's been cooling now for just about a minute, and I've got enough water there to cover. All my leaves got tucked into the surface of the water, which was good. So they got thoroughly coated in the water. They're not dry leaves floating on the top. And I've put in enough water so that I have just below my little pouring opening there. I'm going to put my lid with the hole pointed back towards the handle, so that I get a nice smoother pour when it's time to pour. But let me introduce this tea for just a moment. This is from the Mark T. Wendell Tea Company. This is the First Flush Darjeeling. It is from the Singbulliestate. What else? Yeah, it's First Flush, so it's from earlier this year. The Singbulliestate is in the southwest corner of the Darjeeling region, so it's very close to Nepal. And you can find a quarter pound, 4 ounces, that is, for $21.50 on the marktwendell.com website. So that's something to consider. And of course, we want to consider with this tea, just like all of our teas, looking at the dry leaf, the wet leaf, and the liquor. So let's go ahead. I'm going to start with the dry leaf here. Give it a smell. I generally find for many first flushes have a significant amount of fruity element. There is that characteristic red grape, red globe grape, grape skin type smells. They're sweet, they're fruity. There's something in there I get a little bit, something that's just a little bit of orange marmalade in there as well. So it's sweet and it's fruity. I'm going to go ahead and look at some of these leaves though and take them out. Now, looking at leaves here, you get a variety of colors. Generally, first flushes have more green notes to them. This one does have some bright green leaves. It does have some silver tip as well. I'm going to say the tippy aspect is close to 8 to 10% of the leaf total here. Green notes I'm picking up are closer to also around 10-12% there, and so your remainder is the darker grayish ochre brown type colors there. A lot of leaf portions I do not see, like leaf and tip connections there, leaf and bud together. There are portions of leaves, sections of leaves. The maximum size is, say, 1/2 inch, and then smaller than that you can get much smaller little flakes of leaf there as well. So that really kind of covers the overall look at the leaf here, the dry leaf there. So I'm going to get ready to pour, and I'm going to do this with a tasting cup. It takes a little bit more, I find it takes a little bit more savvy to avoid dribbling. So I'm going to put my thumb on the lid here, and even though my hole is at the top to facilitate airflow as I'm pouring here, I just don't always get the smoothest pour. But this should be good enough. Got plenty of liquor there to look at and taste. So that's good. Let me just kind of dab that off there and talk about this wet leaf. First off, I'm going to give this a shake, kind of loosen those leaves up. In just a moment, I'm going to show you another portion, another way that you use the cup, the tasting cup, and why it's valuable, or why it's useful. First off, the same rich red grape, globe grape type of smells, sweet, fragrant, close to floral, although I cannot identify one particular flower. It's just a sweet, if I had to put my finger on it, if I was at gunpoint, I'd put a little bit of kind of a butterfly bush. There's a sweet kind of bready aspect that's going on here. So that would be my first choice. Now, this is the value of the taster's cup when you're looking at and comparing leaves, because you're able to display your leaves quite nicely on the lid there. So there you've got a nice display. To look at this, and looking at this, a lot of the leaves have become more green in color. They're more light olive, olive drab type colors. You can see some leaf portions here that have not fully, yeah, this is a full, delicate, tender, and small leaf. It's got a little bit of, you can see a little bit of the orangey dapples on the very jagged edges of the teeth where oxidation has taken place. You see some of the stem where leaf was connected there as well. So let me just kind of flatten that out, and you're getting a lot of leaf portions. You're seeing oxidized pieces that have more of a rust type color. I see some larger pieces there as well. So a lot of different colors to look at, a lot of different shapes and sizes to kind of pick through there as well. But I do want to move on and talk about the liquor here. So I'm going to go ahead and get that, first hold it up to the light and kind of look at that. A light coppery color, kind of a amber orangish type color. Like I said, pale copper, more towards an amber in that sense. Good clarity. You can still see a lot of particles floating around as well. Pollen, not pollen, but the fuzz, the hairs off of the downy needles can be present in there. Let's give it a smell. Still those same rich red globe grape, red grape, muscat grape type smells coming off here. Let me give this a taste here. Good clarity as I look down, lots of brightness, not flat or drab looking down in the cup either. Some astringent bite here. Well, bite would be a strong word. There's a level of astringency there. It's not harsh. It's just enough to kind of just give a tart sensation on your tongue, make it kind of draw up just a little bit, just to kind of enliven the senses there. And those are, that sensation, that stringency works actually with the floral, the fruity, the grape aspect there, to kind of give it, if it didn't have the astringency, if it didn't have a little bit of briskness, it would just seem a little overly floral. If it were just the floral, then it might seem too almost kind of perfumey, but with that briskness there, it balances it out. It makes it more than just the smell. It gives you something else there. The briskness determines the character, the feel of the tea in my mouth, and then on the aftertaste, the briskness is still there, again with the sweetness there, with a juicy sweetness. So it's like I had a very a tart white grape beside a red, maybe like a red Concord grape, and I ate them both had them in my mouth at the same time, and I ate them at the same time. And so I get a little bit of Concord sweetness there, heavier, richer type taste, even, and then but the tartness of the white grape is still in there too, and it's biting still just a little bit. So together, they do quite nicely, and they give this kind of juicy, tangy, fragrant bite to it. So when I look at this tea as a whole, I would say that I found the similar characteristics off camera. A warning though, you want to be careful about controlling your steep times and the volume of tea, because it can get over towards too harsh, too very heavily astringent without enough of the taste there. So you want to get the right balance. You notice I didn't steep for too long. Like I said, I allowed my water to cool for generally about a minute before I even added it. So with that right mixture, you can get a quite enjoyable cup from this. And so I would give this tea a 90 because it does have lots of potential, but at the same time, depending on your steeping parameters there, it could be overly fragrant, or it could get overly harsh, brisk, astringent bite there. So right there in the middle, good spot. So come back to Walker Tea Review to find that, to learn about teas, to find that right spot, so that you don't have to go through all the trial and error.